Alright, welcome back. This week, while I'm painting, I want to talk about a method I've been trying out for stopping negative thoughts. As always, a quick disclaimer, I'm not some expert on anything I talk about, I'm just sharing my experience. Also, there's timestamps in the description if you want to skip around. So getting caught up in negative thoughts is something that I struggle with quite a bit. And when I say getting caught in negative thoughts, I don't mean just thinking, one unpleasant thing, then going around the rest of your day. I'm talking more about when I'm getting stuck in a loop and it just sort of repeats for a while, the same sort of thoughts over and over. And it just really gets in the way of enjoying myself and doing the things I want to do. Which has always seemed a little bit crazy to me, that it's my own mind that's causing me so much trouble and not something that's happening to me. So I stumbled across this TED talk where the speaker said all you have to do to neutralize a negative thought is ask these two questions. The two questions were, is this thought useful and how does it behave? And I was pretty skeptical at first when I heard this because it sounded just a bit too simple, but I thought I would give it a shot anyway, and I've been doing it now for over a month. And I have to say, it's one of the only things I've ever tried where it hasn't actually failed once. Every time I get caught up in negative thoughts and ask those two questions, it's worked and stopped that thought pattern from continuing. In the talk, the speaker used the word neutralise, and that's exactly the way I would describe it. If I'm all emotionally caught up in some thought pattern and I ask those two questions, it really just stops it dead in its tracks and I just feel kinda calm. I've had periods where I've meditated a lot in the past, or at least a lot by my standards, and meditation took a lot more effort to sort of be disciplined and sit down and find the time to do it. But I actually found just asking these two questions more effective, which is great because I don't need to then find that time, and that was something I've been really struggling to do the past few months. So while it's much easier to sort of fit into my schedule and do, I am actually having one problem with it, and that's just remembering to do it. There's been periods of a couple of days where I've just completely forgotten about it, or on other days I'll get stuck in a thought pattern for, an hour, half an hour, 2 hours, and then remember to do it, and there's a lot of time where I'm just stuck thinking before I remember to ask the two questions. So one of the things I'm trying is I've written the questions down in my planner that I use every day to track my goals, and I'm going to see if that helps, but I think I might need to try a few more things just to get more consistent with it. As far as benefits go, there's a couple more that are basically the same as when I was meditating. The first one is just how many of the thoughts I think are just the same ones on repeat that aren't actually doing anything or adding anything to my life. Apart from when I'm focused on something and in the zone, most of my thoughts outside of that are basically just a few things said in different ways, and they're all just pretty rubbish, to be honest. There's no benefit to thinking them whatsoever, but they take up a lot of mental energy. The other thing it reminded me of was just how reactionary my mind is. For example, I'll hear something on TV and then that will spark some thought and I'll just get sucked down this rabbit hole kind of against my will for a long time until I remember to ask those two questions. But as I've continued to do it throughout the month, this has happened less and less. It's harder for me to get sucked into those random thoughts, and my thoughts are just quieter, I think is the best way to describe it. It feels like the volume's been turned down and they're less intrusive. So overall, trying this out has actually been a lot more beneficial than I was expecting. I was expecting to try this for a day or two and just being like, this is rubbish, but it's actually been really, really good. It sort of feels like I have an off switch for negative thoughts, which is great. The hard part is just being consistent and remembering to do it. So that's the method I've been trying out to try and manage negative thoughts. It's super simple, but it's worked really well for me so far. If this is something you deal with, I'd love to know how you sort of manage your negative thoughts, so let me know down in the comments. Also, if you have any feedback on this video in general, that'd be great to hear. I always really appreciate getting feedback. There's also a link to the TED Talk in the description if you want to check that out. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider dropping me a like and subscribe if you want to know when my next video comes out. Take it easy.